Well, it would help if I would show up on screen. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Like Queen Lisa. And today is Thursday. I'm so excited that Johnny's back. He's been gone for some family things. I was gone for an exciting wedding in our family, but we're back. And I'm excited to hear what Johnny has to say about Litecoin, about Gary leaving, Ellen's out of the United States, Richard Gere's flying out of here. Unfortunately, Uncle Cliff left Twitter or was kicked off Twitter. We're not really sure, but people are coming and going and things are changing all over the world. So let's hear what Johnny has to say about it right after this. Give us a like and share the video. We'll be right back with Johnny Litecoin. There's that handsome guy. How are you, Johnny? Good to have you back.
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Lisa?
Good. People are like coming and going. It makes me wonder if we are going to see Uncle Cliff's data of like suicide weekend. I saw Ellen left for, I think, the UK. Richard Gere is going to Spain. Like the people, they're actually leaving the US. You know, in the past, they always threatened to leave the US if Trump won. This time they're actually out. I saw somebody post a possible reason why Ellen might have been leaving. I guess she had been tweeting happy birthday love notes to a certain guy that rhymes with shitty.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
Yeah. They were like, maybe this is why he left. Elon retweeted. It was like, maybe that's why. Mick Snuggle stuff. You don't need to know why.
Yeah.
That's why she's running for another country, worried about Trump coming into office. And the big news of the day, I guess, is that Matt Gaetz stepped down from his appointment for Attorney General, and then Trump stepped up Pam Bondi, which Bondi, how do I say that? And I saw this badass video of her. Let me show you guys.
Gaetz isn't going to be the Attorney General anymore?
No. So, some people are saying that may have been the plan all along. It may have been because then now that Mark Rubio is not a senator, he could ask to be put in as Republican senator for Florida, which would give them more weight and get him out of the House and into the Senate, which is one interesting way to think of it. Who knows? And it also could set him up for a possibility of being Florida governor, which I guess he's mentioned before wanting to do or something. But this girl is a badass. So
made one very big mistake. They wound up in Polk County.
This is who will be.
And I'll tell you,
general.
It's bad enough in one thing to profit from poisoning others, but it's another when you bring drugs from Mexico into our country, California, Texas, Georgia, and end up in our state and do it with impunity. Because when you're in this country illegally and you're doing things illegally, I want to tell you, and you wind up in Polk County, Grady Judd is going to find you. The DEA is going to help them. And my statewide prosecutors are going to lock you up for as long as we can.
And we're going to enjoy it.
We're going to enjoy it.
And each defendants are looking at 30 years in Florida State Prison for conspiracy to traffic drugs.
So anyway, I thought that was interesting and an interesting way to think about it. Like maybe it's not such a tragic thing. Maybe you make the Dems think they got to win, but then they put somebody like her in there and they move. It's, you know, they say that Trump's like one of the greatest chess players. So maybe he's doing the 5D chess.
Maybe. There's some at least there's some hope with Trump and I guess the Department of Government Efficiency, that at least seems hopeful, I guess, you know what I mean? And there's talk of Elon tweeted today, should we get rid of the IRS and go to like some type of flat tax? I think that's just a lot more. And then, you know, they're talking about getting rid of capital gains tax on crypto.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's all good stuff. I mean, you know, you really, in regard to taxes, you don't, you know, it's bad enough because it's unconstitutional. But if it's prohibiting industry and commerce from occurring, then it becomes past bad, because now it's anti-business, and capital gains on cryptocurrency, it makes it unusable in most instances. Let's face it, like, you think these kids trading meme coins and people in DeFi are reporting every transaction and filing it on their tax return? No. So it makes it where so if they get rid of it, it just opens it up where crypto companies will want to operate here. And this is a big thing that we want to, I mean, it's a emerging industry. So getting rid of like Gensler is the start. Let's get rid of him. He's been I think the worst people in government. If I had to give my top 5, there's so many bad people, but I'd say it's, you know, like Biden, I don't consider him one of the worst because he's not the one in charge. The guy doesn't know what's going on.
Right.
They're real figureheads, but I really see like Gensler is one of the top bad guys. Elizabeth Warren as like a top like bad person. That Brad Sherman guy is like a top bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
These are like the real like bad, toxic people. You know what I mean? And look at what look at what damage Gensler's done. I mean, the man has I mean, he's single-handedly, I mean, he's done so much bad for the crypto industry.
And before that, he was the treasurer writing the checks on Hillary's campaign for the Russia hoax. That's who was writing the checks. So like these people have like generationally or exponentially done damage. So I do have concerns with Gary leaving. And they were talking about it on Hash It Out today. If you guys haven't watched that, go back and watch that on Blind Dave's channel. And Steak brought up a concern, and he said, you know, just like, so it wasn't Gary Gensler that went after Ripple or even Veritasium, to be honest, or a lot of the cryptocurrency freedom platforms or free market platforms. It was Jay Clayton who were all nominated by like Obama. And Gary, he's already said, yeah, I'm leaving January 20th. Well, I'm sorry, but in most companies, when they say I'm leaving, HR comes to your office and gives you a box and walks your ass out the door.
Yes,
they don't let you stay and damage things for the next month. And they need to send HR to his office and walk his ass out the door, because like Steak was saying, like, well, what if he waits till the day before he leaves and does something horrible to start an investigation, do a whatever to set some bomb off before he leaves and walks out the door, just like Jay Clayton did with Ripple. And that can happen.
He was another bad guy, Jay Clayton. You know what I mean? We forget about.
He was the original crypto bad guy. Like he's the one that started the attacks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, at the very least, like I always said, Gensler should have just said there's certain cryptos that are clearly commodities. Don't look to us to regulate them. It's not our jurisdiction unless there's an ETF, and that becomes a security. The underlying commodity isn't. It's like an oil ETF. Oil's not a security, but the ETF, if you want to buy oil in the ETF, that's a security. So they should have just been clear. We don't have anything to do with these. They are commodities. He should have that should have been like the base case. He didn't even do that. Even when they approved the Bitcoin ETF, he did it in a way where it was like, well, we're not supporting this. We don't we think this is risky and volatile and all this stuff. And even to get a Bitcoin ETF approved or all this stuff, they had to go through such rigorous demands, way different than any other company or security that wants to get way different, way more stringent. So, they've been awful. I mean, Elizabeth Warren, it's like, but
didn't Hester Pierce say at that hearing recently that that they purposefully were vague or I can't remember the exact wording, like obtuse about crypto regulation? Like they were that way on purpose. They didn't give guidance on purpose. And then now you see Trump looking to Brian Armstrong. Excuse me, I am doing everything in my body not to throw up a middle finger. Brian Armstrong and somebody else that they're considering to be like crypto czars. I'm like, oh, you want a stable coin? Oh gosh, it makes me want to hurl my cookies. I just cannot. He had Brian Armstrong and somebody else were being pitched to be the crypto czars.
I forget who the other. I saw the other. Yeah,
disgusted.
I definitely saw the Brian Armstrong. So Brian Armstrong. I mean, one good thing I'll say about him, which during all the riots a few years ago, in the summer of the COVID summer, when there was all the riots and they were burning down cities and all the woke virtue signaling was at a peak. Mm-hmm. He stopped that at Coinbase. He said, not here. You're not really virtue signal here. And he got a lot of pushback for it. And I actually said, hey, this makes me like Coinbase. Not that I'm going to say, hey, like.
Right, but that he wasn't tolerating it as his
He didn't tolerate it. He said, this is about crypto. It's not about politics or your agenda. He said, get it out of this workplace. So I at least commend him for that. When you had people like Jack Dorsey, who's a socialist Marxist, you know what I mean? So you got
Brian Brooks. Who's this guy? Brian Brooks. That's the other one.
Yeah, Brian Brooks is a guy that's been around for a while.
Coinbase and Binance.
He was the CEO of Binance US before they shut that down. Because remember, that got attacked because they attacked Binance. So it's Brian Armstrong. I'm not.
I just don't know how I feel about these choices. I'm just like.
Look, I guess here's the thing. It's a conversation that at least they're pro crypto now. So I guess we gotta,
I guess I like that they're seeing it as a whole other industry. Like it's not commodities or it's, and it's not securities. It is a whole other.
Well, Trump's been clear that it's a currency. If you listen to him, he stops people and says it's a currency. And I think a lot of the reason he's done that, kind of like you say, is he playing 5D chess?
Mhm.
Because if it's deemed a currency, then there's no tax on a currency.
No, JB.
So Brooks worked under the Trump administration. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Brooks, I didn't think he was I actually used to like Binance.us. I thought that was a great exchange to buy through. The fees were really low. So, and like I said, Brian, so Brooks, that's how I feel. I don't know much about him other than I did like Binance.us, and I didn't seem to mind him when I heard him speak. Armstrong, I wish they would, I feel like how they list coins is shady and suspect and all that.
And the whole circle thing and all the ties with that are just, I don't know. It's good.
So it's what did Westwood say? Who needs a CBDC when you, as far as government, can regulate stable coins that buy the U.S. debt? Like I always said, these stable coins, they make the dollar stronger, not weaker. So it's it's a lot of it's a ruse. Maybe they will ban a CBDC, but then we have stable coins, which people cheer on. What's the difference if you think about it?
You can buy up the debt with that.
What's the difference between if they control the blockchain on a stable coin? What's the difference between that and a CBDC? It's the same exact thing. Now you got people like Michael Saylor, who I love that Westwood said before. Michael Saylor said buying Bitcoins like buying Manhattan real estate. Westwood goes, I don't want anything to do with Manhattan. Thought that was funny. But Michael Saylor says, he talks all about moving around stable coins and all that, and that's what people want to do. He's right to an extent because that's what the public has seemed to want. But if we had a free market and Litecoin's not being suppressed, wouldn't people rather transfer around money that's increasing in value than a stable coin? I mean, if the dollar really starts inflating, Bitcoin or Litecoin will be the stable coin. And the dollar will be like a meme coin, if you think about it, if the dollar's hyperinflating. I don't know. I don't think that I changed my tune on like banks going down. I can't see that happening under Trump's watch. I think the reason being is because most people are all in the bank, and most of Trump's base and supporters, let's face it, they're not, maybe they have Bitcoin as in an ETF or something like that. They don't know how to use crypto like we do. They don't have gold or silver. They're not positioned like we are. So 99.5% of his base is all in the regular system. If you take it down, he's going to be fucking hated, like beyond belief. Like the left hates him. Now his supporters will hate him. So I can't see the system coming apart unless it comes apart before January 20th. That could be. Then it's on someone else's watch. You know what I mean? I don't know. Now, we're starting to see the ruse, which is this Ukraine thing heating up. And then I guess Zelensky said today, or someone from Ukraine said, this started World War III. Basically, World War III has started. And I guess they allowed them to use these long-range ballistic missiles.
Yeah, I guess Biden gave permission, which then I saw somebody say that that's not how that works, that Biden has to get permission from Congress to even do that. So like, we're just so watching a movie. But this is how the movie is going, is that Biden supposedly gave permission for Ukraine to shoot these long-range missiles. And then Putin responded with a test to threaten or show like the capability of their and I can't. It was called something specifically.
Oh, he used an ICBM, an intercontinental ballistic missile. That's what Kim Jong-un would fire off. It's the first time an ICBM has ever been used in warfare, ever.
Okay.
It's never been used.
Trump and Putin has agreed to meet and talk peace talks. And I thought it was very interesting. If you see this, see how when Trump's wearing that tie, the pink and blue tie, that's for the children. He rarely wears that tie, but that's so if he's meeting with Putin with that tie on, that means they're talking about the children. And I saw a report that Russia intercepted an Israeli jet tonight that was trafficking small people. And so if the two wars are starting to overlap, there's also there are two amazing videos that I would love for everyone to watch if you have time on the Telegram group. There's a link in the description. They're free. One's on Rumble. The other one I could not share from Rumble, but my husband was able to find it on BitChute and find a link from it that tell you what's really going on. And I will try to share some screenshots tomorrow with what's really going on with the land grabs and how Hamas who is paying Hamas and what's happening over there and what kind of things are going on and how that could be like a kind of shell game being used to be a big land grab for it's very horrible what's going on over there. And anyway, there's a lot more than what mainstream media is telling people.
Oh yeah. And then I guess Zelensky said if we stop funding them, then they're going to lose the war. I mean, if I was Trump, I'd say, look, Zelensky, you got till January 20th, then your funding stops completely. Mm-hmm. And actually, I would take it a step further. I'd say, you know what? Now you owe us this money back. You can't do that. We just did.
Oh, no. Did you not see Biden forgave it? The Biden administration forgave. It's no longer a loan. Our tax dollars have been given to them, 4 trillion, whatever, or 400 trillion or whatever. I tweeted that out this week. And I was like, well, who else is done paying taxes? Because what was once a loan has now been been forgiven to them. And I'm like, without any people's.
That makes me the most angry out of everything, this Ukraine thing. I mean, it actually makes my blood boil. A lot of the stuff over here, like, I don't agree with it personally, but I am a libertarian, so I'm about freedom. I don't really care about a lot of the social issues that a lot of people get caught up in here. I'm just like, look, I don't want it for my kids, but I don't it's not something that I'm like getting all hyped up about. I'm just like, look, I don't want it for my kids. I don't agree with it, but this Ukraine thing affects all of us.
Yeah.
It makes my blood boil. It makes me that's my top thing I'm angry about. If you ask me about anything, I'm more angry about that than the freaking jab. And the jab had me pissed.
Yeah, 4.65 billion of U.S. taxpayers' money originally meant to be repaid. The United States government has told Ukraine they can just keep it. And there's the letter. Congress passed an act. Section 507A of the act.
I mean, and then you'll think about it. It's like, well, are they letting us go for stuff we owe? And so it's kind of just, again, I guess we got to focus on the good now. There is, crypto markets kind of pumping up. So that's good. Hey, we take what we can get. I think Jim Montgomery said they're going to throw us some bones. You know what? Kind of like when you've been starved for 4 years and they throw you some bones, you do at least want to eat. So you do enjoy this part of the movie because you're getting fed finally. Even though if they're throwing us bones. This is all part of the movie. It's like, I get it, but you enjoy the popcorn during the movie. You know what I mean?
Oh, just
So
pissed me off.
it's you know, but you know, we're in, it's exciting times nonetheless. Bitcoin is about to hit 100K, and that's a big milestone for the whole crypto community. I feel, I hate that these Bitcoin maximalists have to
Oh, they're strutting around like big old, yeah, what was Michael Saylor saying? The Bitcoin dude or whatever. The Bitcoin dude.
Max Kaiser, that idiot, and then you
All
got
yeah. But that's when that is when the tide lifts and then it shifts, right? Then they start dumping into altcoins, it seems like. I mean, if we're going into that 4-year cycle, then this is the time like to be thinking about what has great use case and you know, what are those strong coins?
It's still a celebratory time because I feel like anybody in crypto, you've been waiting for Bitcoin to hit 100K. It's the kind of thing where, you know, it's a lot. I know when I got into crypto, people would always say, what do you price you think Bitcoin was going to go to? And I always said, well, it's definitely going to hit 100,000 at some point. And people were like, that's crazy. So I feel like it's at least good for the whole space. Unfortunately, using crypto is off a lot of people's radar. So when you actually go to use Bitcoin, you realize that it doesn't work. And it, I checked today, there's 280,000 Bitcoin transactions stuck in the mempool. Well, that's not good. That's not good money. It's not really that useful. So Litecoin is a much better currency to use. Now, Bitcoin has a lot greater liquidity. Liquidity is important for money. It has to be saleable at all times anywhere in the world. Gold is, that's why gold's a good, in theory, a good currency, because gold is liquid everywhere in the world. Gold's recognized all over the world. So that is a feather in Bitcoin's cap, but it doesn't work for transferring value around. Yeah, it might be saleable, but when you need to sell it, can you get it there? It's like, that's a great highway to drive on. It's like the only problem is the traffic's backed up. Something that should take you 10 minutes is going to take you 5 hours to get there. It's like, well, that's a real nice highway. The roads are paved nice. There's great scenery there. It's like, yeah, it is. You just can't get to where you're going.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the analogy. And then you have a faster road that not as many people go on, but it's like, well, it's a great road. It's really quick to get there and it's efficient. Then you got people saying, you're an idiot if you go on that road, just stay on this road and all the traffic. And, you know, so it's a lot of virtue signaling right now. Like Tom said, BTC is a store of value. It is, and I do respect that digital gold narrative. I don't like the people involved with Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's became a store of value. That's all it is. It's digital gold. It's a store of value. I think that's necessary and that is important, but it doesn't mean that if that's the case, the certain other coins become even more important. So it is frustrating because the markets really are rash. There's a saying, markets could stay irrational longer than you could stay solvent. So there's a lot of people leaving the Litecoin ship because they're saying, hey, I'm going to abandon ship with Litecoin. I'm going to sell now. I'm not here to convince people what to do with their money. Sell.
Right.
Sell. You know what? You want to sell it? I'll buy it from you. I'll buy it from you.
The other really strange thing is people talking about their finances and talking about, like, if they're saying that, maybe that's not really what they're doing.
Right.
Is that them trying to get you to lose your Litecoin? Are they trying to talk you into selling your Litecoin? I don't know. That seems a little suspicious to me.
So yeah, it's not the time to, if anything, now's the time to take some Bitcoin profit and go shopping for these top altcoins or coins
Right.
that actually work,
That
coins that have
continue
real,
to, yeah, that have good.
you know, if you've held Bitcoin all this time, great. You made a good financial decision.
Mhm.
Now I would do some, you know, I wouldn't sell for fiat, but unless you need it. You might say, hey, I have to buy a house. And somebody might say to me, Johnny, I was going to sell Bitcoin at 100K. I need to put a down payment on a house. Well, I respect that. You're taking a hard asset and putting it in land, which is quote unquote a hard asset, even though the government will tax it away from you. That's besides the point. But at least you're getting something tangible. They only make something somewhat scarce, only make so much land. So, but like if you're just saying, hey, I'm going to just sell it just to stare at money in my savings account. Well, I don't really think that. Then you're better just keep the Bitcoin then, at that point. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's not real. What are you doing here? You know what I mean? Like if anything, $100,000 Bitcoin, buy some silver with it. My God, you could take a third of a Bitcoin, get yourself 1,000 ounces of silver. That's a good move right there. A third of a Bitcoin, get you 1,000 ounces of silver.
Yeah, silver's still underappreciated for sure.
Go back to 2018 when Bitcoin traded, say, around $6,000 on average in between 6,000 and 7,000 for most of the year, and then it crashed the end of the year in 2018 down to like 3,000. But say a $7,000 Bitcoin, right? Silver was probably $15 an ounce then. So a full Bitcoin back then would only get you 500 ounces of silver. Now, fast forward 6 years, a full Bitcoin would get you 3,000 ounces of silver.
That's incredible.
So, that would be a really good use of the funds. Then wait till silver pops. You know what I mean? I always said Bitcoin was going to run before silver. Now, Litecoin, I don't know. Litecoin might be a next cycle coin for all we know. Maybe it misses this cycle of pumping up, and you don't get a good Litecoin price this cycle. Well, instead of being disappointed, look at it as the opportunity. That could be the opportunity of a lifetime for you if you get positioned in on such a low Litecoin price, ride it into the 2027 halvening, and then you got 2028 and 2029, which will probably be a bull market for crypto. That would be unreal. Now, I agree with Nana. I think spring of 2025, you're going to see Litecoin do really well. I think the Litecoin ETF will bring a lot of liquidity into Litecoin and move the price way up, way up. Now, we've talked, what's the deal with ETFs? Like I said, I don't hate them. I actually like ETFs. I just think people that know about crypto should own the asset itself. I think the ETF's good for certain people. They get exposure to it. I'm not against it, the ETF. As long as there's some type of accountability and transparency, and you could prove that that fund is actually
holding the asset
behind the asset. Yeah. And I feel like with how Bitcoin's moved up, I feel like are they rehypothecating it?
So you should watch the Hash It Out today, and Dub shows they are literally on this chart thing. It shows rehypothecated crypto, and there's a whole market cap of it. And it was like, oh gosh, it was like if there's 1 point something trillion assets in the crypto market, there's 1.5 billion in rehypothecated. It's crazy. Go watch out from today.
I guess my counter argument to that would be, look how the Bitcoin price has moved up, though. So if they are rehypothecating it, are they just stemming the tide somewhat? And would the price be 200,000 by now? If the because if you think about it, the rehypothecating it, then 98,000 is
the
the best price.
Mhm.
Obviously we know Litecoin price is suppressed. There's a conscious effort by who I deem to be the bad guys, and a lot of them infiltrated these Bitcoin maximalists and other people to the point where, and a lot of them aren't probably, they don't know they're being the bad guys. They're just doing it now. Oh, it's cool to hate on Litecoin, or it's cool to do this. But, we're seeing that shift a little bit. I'm sure you saw last week, Lisa, there was a lot of buzz about Litecoin with this meme stuff and how that kind of did move the price up somewhat. Did you see the whole meme on Litecoin with that Lester Litecoin?
Yes, the little guy and I saw that.
And then there's they released a meme coin on Solana that was Lester Litecoin. So it's not Litecoin, it doesn't have anything to do with Litecoin, but it's getting buzz around Litecoin. It's bringing attention to Litecoin. So
which I'm like, why do they have to always go almost dark? Like when they supported that horrible movie, that satanic movie in Hollywood, and then now they chose the name Lester. Like, it's like, who makes these decisions? I don't know.
Right. It's
pull their head out.
I mean, either way, Solana is awfully popular with these meme coins, so it did bring attention to Litecoin. It got that Roaring Kitty guy tweeting about it, so at least it brought some buzz in. Jim Montgomery said, in your opinion, how many Litecoin is a good hold? And it all has to do with your own personal situation. I think everybody should fight to get to 100 Litecoins. Now, people say, hey, you should try to get the 1 Bitcoin. Well, getting to 1 Bitcoin's out of reach for most people. It's $98,000. Most people, you say, hey, you want to invest in this thing? By the way, you need to get a full one. By the way, it's $98,000. Right. By the way, it's probably gone higher. So by the time you're buying it,
and most Americans live month to month, check to check. Yeah, so that's
getting 100 Litecoins for $9,000. That's more in the reach for most people. I would say that's a great goal. Tom, how do you have 317 stuck on chain? Are they stuck in a wallet that you can't access? I'm just curious. Explain how they're stuck on chain.
Or you should DM Litecoin tech support.
Yeah, DM me or maybe write in the comments. Did you lose the private key?
He says Ledger Nano S.
Plucking Ledger Nano S. So do you have the seed words, Tom, as a backup? Because I have a Ledger Nano S right now that fried, so I had to get a new one and I have to restore it. Are you in a similar situation where the Ledger crapped out? But I would just be curious, do you have the seed words? I know you wrote yes. I didn't know if you wrote that before I asked that question.
I don't know. Yes, they added a word.
Yes, they added a word. Who added a word? I'm just curious about that. Who, when you did the seed words, it added a word, or it? Why don't you DM me, Tom, and we could try to see if we can get to the bottom of this for you.
And Tom, if you need help connecting, I don't know that Tom's on Twitter, so I might have to connect you guys via phone.
Yeah, I'm on Telegram too. So
okay. Yeah, he's on Telegram. So you guys could do Telegram.
You can message in there. Jim Montgomery said before listening to Andy Scheckman, they asked him how many ounces of silver does 1% having, he said 500 to 1,000 ounces. Wow. And that sounds about right for most people, for big investors in silver. Because if you think about it, silver is heavy. So I guess it becomes down to like a storage issue where people can,
Yeah.
you say, hey, I want to put $1 million into silver. Well, now you're talking about 30,000 ounces of silver. Where the hell do you put it at? You know what I mean? So I
Build
guess
your house with it.
it put in the house as a real solid foundation. You know what I mean? It's silver. Um, so yeah, so it's all relative. Owning is all relative to you. Now, somebody with extreme wealth, someone with that's sitting on $50 million. I'd say to them, hey, if I was you, man, maybe I'd pick up 1,000 Litecoins right now. It's going to cost you about 90 grand. Someone like that, I'd say, hey, buy a Bitcoin, buy your one Bitcoin and keep it, because they're pumping it up right now. Who knows what countries buy it? And like Michael Saylor, who knows, he's going to buy 1 trillion Bitcoins, even though they don't have 1 trillion Bitcoins. It's like that. That also to me is strange, how Michael Saylor is buying so much Bitcoin, but that to me should be moving the price more, because if he's buying so much Bitcoin and only mining so much per day, people be like, no, he's buying over the counter. Well, if you listen to like Bitcoin Ben and stuff, like he's talked about how like there's not a lot for sale on exchanges and stuff. So these over the counter people don't even have that much to sell. How's Michael Saylor buying billions in Bitcoin right now?
Could they be buying future mining contracts or things like that and be saying they're buying it that way?
Now I'm going to throw a real conspiracy theory out there. What if he ain't buying it? He's just saying he's buying it. I mean, I've never really seen the wallet that he says it's being. I mean, is there auditing going on of, hey, here's my Bitcoin? I'm on X a lot. I've never seen anything like that. It's just them saying MicroStrategy bought this much Bitcoin. Everyone's like, woo.
So on Bloomberg today, they were talking about how because Bitcoin was going up and he was saying he was buying it, it was causing MicroStrategies, his company's shares, to go up because the price of Bitcoin was going up.
It's just
What's he
interesting.
meaning that way?
He's saying he's buying all this, but to me, it doesn't seem, with the supply out there, well, how's he getting it all? If there's only a certain amount of Bitcoin available, and then people are saying, no, over the counter. It's like, yeah, but there's only so much Bitcoin available. What, is there more available over the counter than we have access to? Like, is that rehypothecated Bitcoin? Is that, is he buying on chain? How's he buying it? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'd be
Interesting.
real curious to see that, an audit. Maybe they have it all. I don't know. Hopefully he does. I mean, I don't think that would be good for crypto in general. I hope he does have it, but it is something I question.
I think that's some of the stuff we'll find out. What do you think about the whole Doge Department of government efficiency thing? Do you think that Elon will put that on, use the Doge chain to put it on public chain for people to see?
I mean, that'd be something. It is weird they named it Doge, and he was all about Dogecoin. There's just too much connection there and coincidence for me to. I would hope so. I think what's good for Doge is good for Litecoin, and if you think about it, it's. I heard the best way. I don't know a ton about mining, but I heard you're better off mining script than SHA-256, and you get Dogecoin, you get Litecoin, and then you get, I guess, that Bell's coin now. So you're getting multiple coins if you mine scripts. So that's pretty cool. And I just think in general, what's good for Doge is good for Litecoin. The miner reserves are at an all-time low. I guess the miners have been shorting Litecoin and then I guess basically putting the profits back into Bitcoin or Doge. That's kind of been proven by a lot of people. Now the miner reserves are actually at a record low. So that could be like a little supply shock for Litecoin. It won't take much to move the price higher, but that department in general, I'm excited about it. We've been through bad. So any talk of reducing the size of government, getting rid of agencies that are bad news and toxic in our life, for me, at least the ball's moving downfield in the right direction. So I'm all for it. I want to wait until Trump gets in. If he gets in, I mean, obviously he got elected, but does he take that office on January 20th? We're not there yet. So there's a lot that can happen between now and then. Like I always said, when shit hits the fan, they're either going to stage some type of alien UFO invasion, or
which that on Cliff High's data, because Trump and Rogan sat down, then 49 or 39, however many days from that, we're supposed to have the alien battle, which is December 3rd. That's the day.
You got that going on. And I said two things I said to watch out for: that, and I said a nuke. And I said in particular, I felt like they were going to hit like Alaska was my prediction originally. Yeah. I said, because we wouldn't be able, no one could prove if they hit Alaska with a nuke. And then we would just be, and it's doesn't affect you on the mainland US, couldn't be proven. So there was, they could hit Alaska and not have a big response of nuking them to death, where people wouldn't be calling for that, in other words, you know what I mean? So it's 100,006. Is that Bitcoin? Did Bitcoin go over 100,000?
Uh-oh. Yep. Crypto.com, Bitcoin hit 100K.
On Coinbase, it's still 98,690. I look at Coinbase because it's the largest U.S. exchange, so I go there for the live price, I guess. But
okay,
certain exchanges, yeah. I was talking to Greg earlier. He was talking to somebody that said Bitcoin was at it was at 100,000 and change on a certain exchange, and if there's no coins for sale and somebody's selling them at, if there's no coins for sale on an exchange, and I go put a limit order to sell in for $100,400, well, guess what? The price of Bitcoin in that exchange is $100,400 because someone's willing to sell it at.
Yeah. If
you want to buy it, that's what you're paying. You know what I mean? So Bitcoin's price different on every exchange based on every crypto is that's how it works. But probably hit 100K tonight. The wild thing is, I guess I would have figured there would have been more buzz of Bitcoin hitting 100K. Like I don't think we're other than crypto Twitter and certain people, there's not much buzz from the public about it. Like I've talked to some regular people and they're kind of like, I feel like younger people know about it because they're actually, I used to be so against TikTok, but they do seem to get a lot of news out there to people.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like a lot of young people are giving me hope for the future, where they're like the tide's kind of shifting back where they're the like the really younger generation. You know what I mean? So
These are the new like newscasters, the Joe Rogan, all this. The View was talking about like they're making fun of Joe Rogan because he believes in dragons and whatever. And then Sean had shared these guys with me, and I just happened to be watching their channel, and they like this was on. He's talking about mall aliens, and then this guy talks about. Let's see if I can play this.
I have a really, really weird story, and I really tried to research it today to see like his exact quote on this.
Okay.
Could not find it.
Okay. So it's 100% confirmed is what you're saying.
So it's that whole comment, what's your source, bro? Just trust me.
We got this.
All right.
There we go.
So this guy, his name is Cliff High. And in
This
my
wander bag
gosh.
got dropped in some rapids.
on.
This wander bag fell off a cliff. This wander bag.
well, you could skip it, I think, on the side. Yeah, cool.
Good.
Right? So
Yeah.
like it becomes normal. It's like, or the idea of a possible threat becomes normal. So when it eventually happens,
Oh
Boom.
no.
Dude, if
We're
people,
good.
if
just trust me.
we
Okay.
got this.
All right.
There we
Sorry.
go.
So this guy, his name is Cliff High. And in I think it was 1997, he developed this software program called WebBot. And what it would do, it would scan the entire internet and it would collect data. And he called it predictive linguistics.
Predictive linguistics.
Yes. And the whole point of it was so he would collect data. It would make predictions for the stock market, for it to crash, go up, whatever.
Mhm.
But then he like delved into it a little more. And it's just like, let's see like what else it can predict.
Yeah.
It's basically like the preliminary of like AI.
Right.
True. Yeah.
But in 2009, he ran the program, the WebBot, and it came up with a prediction of the future.
1997,
2009.
2009. Okay.
So this software is still running.
It is
12 years later,
Yeah.
or-
So what he does,
Yeah.
he collects the data, and it's the predictions for the stock market, and he sells it. So it's like
Okay.
it's not
like a market
free thing.
research almost.
Yeah,
type
yeah.
Thing.
Also,
Okay.
good math. 13. That was 12 years. That was pretty good.
That was really good.
That was really good.
How many toothpicks? So yeah, in 2009 he ran it, and it came up with a prediction of the future, but there had to be a trigger to have the prediction come true.
set
Or
it
like-
in motion.
Yeah, set it in motion. And it said that when this trigger happens, then 39 days later, this prediction will come true.
Mhm.
2009. What this software came up with was that there was going to be a battle in the air with the military and UFOs, and that even UFOs would be fighting UFOs.
Whoa.
So like a literal like
a Star Wars.
Yes.
Oh.
Here's the crazy part.
We're not even
now
there
we're
yet.
there.
Okay.
So the trigger for this, when the trigger happens,
Mhm.
39 days later, UFO battle.
Yeah.
2009.
Yes.
Lord.
The trigger was Donald Trump would be interviewed by Joe Rogan.
Bro, no.
Nuh-uh.
No way, dude. That's crazy.
And then when he saw it on the software, he's like, he dismissed it. He's just like, I don't even know what this is.
It's obviously broken. Why would Donald Trump be a president?
Because Joe Rogan, he had a podcast in 2009. That's when he
I was
like,
going to
first
say,
started.
like, he wasn't just doing Fear Factor at that point.
No,
still.
he started the podcast. The podcast was like maybe a year or so in, like
Early
in
days,
2009.
near prime Rogan.
And so it said when Joe Rogan interviews Donald Trump on his podcast, 39 days later, which would be for us
Yeah, soon.
December 3rd.
Oh no.
There would be a battle in the air.
Who is
Okay, so I emailed that to Uncle Cliff. and said, "Oh, the Sunday Cool brothers found you," and then some people think that maybe he got kicked off for maybe one of his tweets, but his Twitter does not exist anymore. So
Has he done any videos on like that Substack? Has he put out any?
I haven't seen.
Maybe he would have addressed why he's
He
off.
might have. Yeah, he may have got kicked off Twitter, or he may have taken himself off. I do not know. And I haven't checked my email to see if he responded. Substack. Let me see, Cliff. Oh, no, there's all these fake ones. I don't even see him on Substack anymore. Old, bald, pissed off. There he is. 2 days ago is his latest post, ontological evolution. So, Mom says he took it down for personal reasons. So I don't know how she knows that, but she knows.
Gotcha.
New project he's working on, Tom says. So he must be talking about it somewhere. JB Slayer says he got an email from him. Okay. Well, that's good.
All right.
So there you go. So there we go.
We're in crazy times, so it's it still remains crazy.
It remains crazy stuff. But how crazy, like when the normies, like the news has changed where people are like, these bros, but that one has like a pussy wound on his leg in the picture, and the other one has like, I don't know who dresses them, but they're a mess, but just sweet boys, sitting there talking, and they're like, okay, I found this amazing thing. And they're talking about, we've all known about the web bot since Nana introduced me to it. I don't know, or, I don't know how you guys all heard about it, but it's kind of cool. And then hearing like, whoa. So, that's a whole new audience that's going to be waiting for December 3rd battles in the sky with UAPs, it's kind of wild.
Which is pretty I wonder if I wonder if he got off because that's to do with all the space stuff with Elon, not Starlink, what's the SpaceX and all that. So it's who knows? But either way, like we always say, get your assets in your own possession, be ready for anything. Obviously you could be excited, yay, Trump won, woo, but it's, does he be ready for anything? Does he take office what happens between now and January 20th? What happens? What if they put us into a state of emergency or some type of who knows? I mean, I don't know.
Those are all the things. I don't know.
Right. So just get your Litecoin, get your silver in your own possession.
Yeah. There's also a great video about why Trump did warp speed on the Telegram. That was another great video. So there's like at least 3 really great videos on there. I would recommend everybody watching the Israel secret, the one about the Panama Canal, and the warp speed video. Check all of those out and go watch Hash It Out, and give me a like, share the video, do all the things, follow Jonny if you need any tech support on Twitter. Yeah. And I think that's it. We'll see you guys tomorrow on Happy Hour.
Later, guys.